I made myself a at-home coffee. I believe I'm already going to get increasingly sweaty as I'm doing this, so we're just gonna take this off now. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. Hello, my name is Rennie, it's so good to meet you. And if you're returning, hi, welcome back. I missed you and hope you're doing well. So, why do I look so busted? I am doing a fun little dive into Halloween video because it is officially October 2nd today, and I love everything Halloween related. So I thought, why not let me film a video doing something that I love, which is a mixture of makeup and scary, creepy lore that I just grew up with, that I still look into, that I still love to this day. So yeah, if you want to learn more, or I guess just watch me transform myself into this creepy thing, I really don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I kind of have a little bit of a vibe that I want to get to, but we'll see really where the transition goes. So yeah, let's just get on into it. I made myself a at-home coffee because I'm trying to get better at saving money. So this is my second one today. And my hair's tied back weirdly because she's greasy and she's also kind of tangly. Look, it's a transformation. That's pretty much what I'm gonna get at. But I want to show you guys my nails before we get really into it. They have this cool little design on them. They're like a mixture of like greens, blacks, blues, a whole little thing. And also you're zoomed in so you can see the before and, you know, obviously the duration. My neighbor is vacuuming currently, so just ignore that sound. So basically for Halloween, I decided that I wanted to obviously do kind of sharing some lore. And that is going to be a mixture of just different supernatural creatures and things that I grew up loving, and if you're watching this video, hopefully you grew up loving them too. Also, I like randomly decided to become a scare actor. Yeah, my audition / interview is tomorrow. I'm nervous, but I'm really excited. I feel like if I do get this will be like my first contract in the arts, and yeah, like a switch of job from like the job I was doing, you know, like my working for a country club, you know, vibe, transitioning to like actually doing something that is more creative, more I can add my dance into, more of like an acting role. I think it'll be great. So I'm really excited. I'm like this like nervous excited because like I took improv class in college, like my first year of college, so like I got to work with people that were like beginners at acting, and I got to work with people that were like really into acting. So we played a lot of improv games, had an amazing teacher, she was great, she was awesome. I miss her genuinely, she's an amazing human being and funny as can be. But yeah, I'm just really excited. I'm like nervous, but I'm excited and it's gonna be so fun. Oh my god. So hopefully I get the job so I can do some stuff. I'll update you guys obviously before or after, I guess, the interview.
It sucked ass! And Lisha came with me for the entire thing. I think that we have talked about this, we've debriefed it. It's just not for me. It just was not. They wanted me to work tonight as well, and that was not going to be happening because Lisha drove me. So, and also, like, they didn't even train. Like, no training. It was just, like, jump right into it. It was intense. I'm, like, shaking. I'm, like, a little bit. Like, but it's okay. We're still having a great Halloween, and I don't care. Period.
That's right.
That's right. Anyways, that's the update.
So today we're gonna be like talking and diving in. I have my laptop here, and we're going to basically just be talking about a few mythical, supernatural creatures that I really love and am scared of, and just like gravitate towards in a weird way. So yeah. So the first one is vampires. They are one of my favorite, I think, creatures I've ever learned about, and I think they have quite a lot of lore. I mean, everything really kind of stems from something, like, if you think about it, like vampires came from the idea of like the dead coming back, and during the plague time, bubonic plague. I can never say that right. But yeah, they came from kind of that era, and how I think a lot of these kind of came through that era of, it was just where people were kind of just figuring it out. So I would say that they stem from the idea of the dead coming back to life. People were dying of sicknesses, and it was said that they were taken in the night and that they were transformed into these vicious, blood-sucking creatures, because people would say that they would find their relatives dead. The relative, before they died, had told them, like, something's coming for me, something's going to get me, and people thought, you know, this person's just insane, you know, like crazy, like, you know, Ed down the street is fucking weird. But they actually were kind of leading into something, which was the fact that their bodies would be drained of blood in the morning, and they would have weird bite marks and weird just flare-ups all over their body that people didn't really know what these were. And also, like, I do not have 110% facts on all of these things, so this is kind of just a video for fun. So if you are somebody who knows a lot more about these things, please comment down below. I would love to know new things about these creatures, as well as just be informed of things that happened in history. And I think anybody else that's watching this would love that too. So these are just kind of a compile of things I've learned on my own time, my leisure of browsing. I'm not obviously a professional or whatever, so yeah, just let people know down below. I'm starting in with this L'Oreal Paris Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation in my shade, which is 405, which is like the second to lightest shade there. I am going in with just this all over my face as like a primer kind of vibe, because since we're going to be doing intense makeup, I want to be able to have like some stuff look skin-like, so yeah. But vampires were known to be these lustful creatures that were basically nocturnal. They feared the sunlight, and they would hide during the day. Some of different areas throughout the world say that they were ugly creatures. Some people say that they were beautiful and they would hide themselves, or I guess disguise themselves, as beautiful women that would lure men and just even some women in and basically drain them of all their blood. I would say vampires are probably the most, I guess, sexualized creature. I think that they're mainly called seductive and stuff like that just due to the nature of how intimate blood sucking is. Like, obviously, blood is like a very intimate thing. These are very, like, your wrist, your neck, those are very intimate spots. So I think that's like one of the reasons why people put like Dracula and all of these, like Carmilla and all of these other people as like lustful creatures, even though like I'm not sure if I really agree that it has to be like a lustful thing. Like, I feel like, you know, Nosferatu like made Dracula out to be like this really sexual creature, which I don't think that, I don't know, maybe in purity culture in those times, maybe that's why people would assume such negativity to do like around vampires is because like sex was like something that was just like very taboo, as well as scary things. And I think that that even goes into like just if you act different back then, people were very witch. So since I have this on, I am going to basically start using this contour stick that I have, which it could be a foundation stick or a concealer, but I got it like 5 shades darker than me, and it's by e.l.f. and it is, I don't know what shade it is. I don't think it has it anymore. I think it rubbed off, but I'm just gonna start contouring out my features more. So we're gonna get into my next up people that were kind of, well, my next up supernatural beings that were brought up during that era, I would say, as much as vampires were brought up. So I'm just gonna really angle this down. We're gonna really hollow out our cheeks. And I think I'm just gonna do it like this really like defined, so it's like very light. And I'm gonna obviously do here, and I'm gonna do my neck area. I think I'm gonna do like this area of my eyes, kind of. And down my nose like that. So it kind of looks like this. So I'm not telling you what creature I'm kind of like doing, and I just want you guys to kind of like guess. I've done quite a few crazy looks in my time, but this one I think is a little different than what I usually am going for. So yeah, but the next person, or I keep making them like human, the next character, or I should say lore I believe in, and supernatural being I believe in, and I would say I even kind of dabble in this, is witches. So witches are more known, I would say, like they came kind of around the time, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm probably, but correct me if I'm wrong, they were around the time of vampires in that sense, and it was during times where like the plague was going around, stuff, crazy things were happening, people were dying, you know, for no reason, and you know, people really didn't have that long of lives. So this was like a time of conformity as well in that era, and if you weren't like Catholic or Christian, you were a witch or you practiced the occult, and you were known as kind of like the weird one. Now they say that witches, the ones that were actually real during this time, were never caught, but there was a thing called the Salem witch trials, and they did burn multiple women at the stake, which is terrible in my opinion. I think that a lot of these women were just accused of things because some of them were in bad marriages, some of them were just outcast, some of them just decided not to follow the crowd, and it's like if you weren't following what the people next door to you were doing, you were like automatically gonna be hung. So I would say that a lot of the people that were accused of witchcraft were actually not witches. Because I just don't think if you're a supernatural creature that you would be caught that easily, but that's just my opinion. So I have multiple palettes, and I think I'm going to use my Blood Sugar palette by Jeffree Star. I would say I have practiced witchcraft, I've dabbled in like that area, and I don't think that all like witchcraft is wrong, you know? I think that everything can have a good side and a bad side, you know? So I'm gonna go with this really like muted purpley color. It's called O Positive, and I'm just gonna add it onto this area of where I just did that, and I'm gonna start buffing it out like this. But yeah, so that was the tea on witches. I really just think that there's always a good and evil of something, and I think that they are given really a bad rep because I think a lot of it just has to stem from religion and how narrow-minded some religions can be. And I'm not saying like if you're Christian or if you're Catholic that that's like a negative thing, but I just believe that if you follow a God that creates all mankind, that you should accept all that are not doing any harm, you know? So I'm just gonna buff this in, and this is basically just to give myself like more of like a chiseled jawline, you know, type vibe. So the next creature I'm gonna be talking about are werewolves. So werewolves are, I would say, I like them, I really do, but I'm not a huge dog person, so I don't think that they really like captivate me as much as like the other creatures, but they definitely hold up their own, and their lore is kind of crazy in the sense of things, at least of what I've seen. And that's the whole vibe of, if you get bit or scratched by one of them, you turn into one of them on a full moon, and that you're not safe during a full moon unless you chain yourself up. Or if you're a human and you're around somebody who is a wolf or a werewolf, that you need to get the hell away or you're gonna get got. I would say that they are interesting creatures, of the fact that they can turn from man to wolf, vice versa, you know? But they're not my huge favorite. Like, when Twilight came out, I was way more interested in becoming a vampire than becoming a werewolf. And that wasn't even based off of the actual characters, it's just the actuality of vampires. It's like you can live forever, and wolves, they're still known to age the same as humans because they're just basically shapeshifters at the end of the day, which I do believe that makes it easier for them to camouflage themselves within different settings, meaning they're way more harder to find. In some lore that they say that they can just change into a dog, as well as like a bigger dog, like a wolf, shapeshift into multiple things. So that is an interesting thing that I do believe in. So it should just be like, we're really just like hollowing out the areas of our face. Like this. And I'm just like kind of dragging it down my neck like this, just because I wanted to kind of look just like a little bit like hollowed out. So yeah, so that's like, this is what it should look like. I like how I'm talking like this is a tutorial. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, if I can find it, maybe in this paper bag of unknowns. Yes, I'm so smart. I put my fake blood in here. I got like a few years ago from Spirit. It's theatrical blood. So anyways, I'm gonna like play around with this. Getting into the next one, which is, they're just bad bitches in my opinion. We're gonna be talking about sirens. So sirens are obviously just such an interesting character, or not character. I'm also just gonna start putting this like on my face. Oh, it's tripping. Oopsies. Let me save that. Save it for later. So anyways, sirens. They are known to be beautiful women that basically are, they show themselves as beautiful women, I should say, to lure sailors out at sea and get them lost, and then basically drag them into the water and kill them after they sing them and lure them out of their boats into the water and they drown them. I think it's really just genuinely for their own entertainment. I think genuinely whenever I go on a boat, I think about what is under the water, and I definitely did watch a documentary with my bestie Amelia, which you guys have met on this channel, about like mermaids and how they're like low-key real. And I just believe that we haven't discovered like half of the ocean, so like really you can't really debunk something that is you know what I mean? Like if somebody could write about it and it could be continuously a sighting, then it's gotta be real in some aspect. And I believe that pretty much with all of these entities and beings. So I'm just kind of gonna do like a smile like this. But yeah, that's what sirens were told to be. I think they're very interesting because, again, like it's kind of like a werewolf where it's like shape-shifting into a really scary creature and then back into like a normal person, or even like kind of how vampires were perceived as something that was really terrifying but then was masked as this beautiful being that was just perfect. So I have this red Anastasia eyeliner that I usually use for auditions, but we're gonna use a little bit of it today for this. We're just gonna draw like this. And it should look like this so far. Now, what are we saying that we're gonna do? We're gonna trust the process. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm putting these two shades. This one's called Cherry Soda and the other one's called Fresh Meat. These two right here on, and just kind of like angling it and keep angling it. It looks like the Joker right now. It's not what we're doing, I promise. But I'm also gonna add it on my neck and just bring it down. I just love this palette, the fact that it literally has so many different like colors that you can choose from, and it is so pigmented, so it's very just useful in that sense. So one of my other kind of favorites, and one that kind of honestly kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies, is skinwalkers. I don't even like saying it because like people are like, you talk about it, you're gonna let them come in, you know, all of that. But skinwalkers are basically an Appalachian, I don't know, it's been said Appalachian. I like saying Appalachian, but also like I'm not from there and everybody that lives there is like Appalachian. So like, I don't really know, but I really can't take myself serious in the viewfinder, I'm not even gonna lie to you. But I'm just gonna like have this like go down my chest like these. But yeah, so in that area, there's been known to be creatures that take on the form of either animals or humans, and they just kind of look like they're not fully right, if that makes any sense. They don't look really fully like they're humans. Like their mannerisms or something is just kind of off. Because really at the end of the day, they're creatures that are trying to get you by tricking you into thinking that they're a family member or even your pet, and trying to get you to let them into your house. So there are different rules that you go on to have to follow when you live out there, and that most of them teach their children, because it is known that if you hear whistling in the woods, no you didn't. If you see something walking or hear something walking behind you, no you didn't. If you hear a relative calling your name or asking you to help them, no you didn't. Because those are all signs of a skinwalker trying to basically get you. And I think that's the most like chilling one pretty much out of all of the lore, because it is so like so documented compared to most of these. Like I feel like most of these were documented back in the day when like we didn't have cell phones and we didn't have cameras, we didn't have all these things. But like I feel like things from that area are just things that you really can't explain at the end of the day. They're just things that really just don't make sense, and you can't make sense of them. Skinwalkers are definitely also just like, I mean, they're related. They could be called wendigos as well, but I would say that wendigos are definitely like a different thing. I would say skinwalkers is like the most eerie way of describing something, because really at the end of the day, you really don't know if you've met one until you've met one. And people with those stories, there's so many people out there that have stories of encounters with these things, and I just believe that it's just gotta be something out there. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of like angling this down. Fun fact, one of my solos for solo comp at Shenandoah, I was a skinwalker. And I didn't even mean to create that character. It just kind of happened. And then I just became it. So we're gonna go in with our fake blood again. And we're just gonna leak it on our face. Like this. Like this. Just gonna like tuck it in like a bib so that she's like not gonna get hit. Period. So this is what it looks like so far, but I just wanted to show you this. I took some of my ballet tights and I'm cutting holes for the hands, and this is gonna be like a layer of skin, and I'm gonna like put foundation on this. So I'll get back to you when I'm done with that. Okay, so I had to turn on the overhead light because it's like getting cold out, but I'm just literally putting this through, and then I'm like ripping finger holes in them. I'm gonna do this with each of them. So they go all the way up. I'm wearing like I just like put a nude bra on, but we're gonna take our hair down and do something a little crazy with it. Okay guys, this is the end of the transformation. So we got these little skin things. I'm wearing a nude bra. And my hair is all matted and I have contacts in. If you can't see, I'm crying because they hurt so bad to put in. Guess what character I am, or I guess what I'm trying to go for. So this is the up close. I like feel like I'd be so good at a scare actor. Anyways, like, subscribe, comment down below if you like the video and any other lore that you believe in, and I will see you in the next one. Mwah. Peace.